This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only and contains jokes, satire, and language that may not be suitable for all audiences. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not reflect the opinions of any employers or sponsors. The stories we share are our version of events. If you believe a story we share is about you and you remember it differently, please, by all means, go start your own podcast and tell your truth. So I'm very excited to get into this week's topic. We've both been talking about this for months and months and months. I need to lean back so it doesn't look like I'm in the witness protection program. And I'm also a little worried that my shirt might be a little see-through in this light. And if it is, you are welcome. So 3 of Gold Star Whores, we're chasing gold stars is the point. What would you say out of everything that happened is your gold star of the week?
So I'm going to give myself a gold star this week for good job. You didn't drop out.
Nice. I'm proud of you. There's your gold star. My gold star of the week is one of the people that I mentor who has been looking for a job, got a job offer this week. They have updated their resume countless times, applied to countless positions, leveraged their network to have tons of interviews, and they just kept not getting anywhere. So we were very happy that offer came through, signed on the line, should be starting any day now. That is my gold star. So what I do want to kind of get into right now is the part of the episode that we titled, That's Not What I Meant, from last week. I will say that I am not a psychologist, and I'm definitely not a corporate psychologist. I just have a lot of interest in the different personality types and the different leadership types and the Venn diagram between all of them. In my Psych 101 class, I was in the front row the entire time. And remember, I went back to school later, so that was only a few years ago. And it's fascinating to me how we perceive ourselves and how we want to be perceived, and the many different ways that can kind of rear its ugly head in both personal and work lives if you are not an authentic person, or if you don't understand what type of gold star whore you're dealing with. Because it could go dark real fast if you aren't aware, or you could miss your opportunity to have a friend for life, like Lisa and I have in each other, if you're not really kind of understanding the gold star whore DNA. So I know that we're going to get corrections. I know people are going to send us some emails, probably some cognitive behavioral therapists as well. Please forgive us. I am, again, not a doctor, and neither is Lisa. We just are 2 people who have just been through it over our careers and have, I believe, succeeded when no one else could have. And there's lots of different reasons that would have happened. Lisa, did you have anything from last week's episode you wanted to readdress?
I did. I felt kind of bad watching it back, thinking that I automatically gave the ick for being a high self-monitor individual. I think that just because that wasn't me doesn't mean that it's an ick. I think that maybe what I was suffering from in that moment was looking back on certain situations where I think people showed up super inauthentic. I could see certain things spiraling because of that, but those are my experiences.
They're called bias.
That does not mean that is a bad person to be, or there's not right or wrong.
Yep. There are situations where no one can save you but a high self-monitor. I mean, there are definitely plus and minuses to both, I think.
Right.
And that's such a good observation. And I'm really proud of you for making that observation. It just means that we constantly, I think we have to self-check.
I judged.
Based on your experiences.
Based on my experiences. And instead of just looking at it, as a whole, that everybody is different. And I say this all the time. But in that moment, I didn't do it. And I want to
Dude, I'm proud of you. Good for you. You didn't even notice. But you're absolutely right. Hey, high self-monitors, we love you too. So now that we've kind of readdressed some things we wanted to readdress last week, what I cannot wait to do is to get into this week's episode of I'm the Talent. We're going to deep dive into some different power dynamics and then how you can still continue to thrive and remember who you are. So getting into this is for anybody out there who is kind of, this is going to ring true for you. You're like, oh my God, that's me. And I want to let you know that I've been you. I'm you still, where you just kind of forget that you're the reason everyone's in the room and you're the reason that the work is being paid for is your talent and your skill. So the first thing I want to talk about is what I mean when I say I'm the talent. So I know like it sounds funny because it is, but I say it a lot, especially to people that I'm working with in like a mentor, it comes up a lot. So if you are someone who is organizing, facilitating, producing, creating, bringing something into the world that did not exist before you showed up, you are the talent. You have the skills and the know-how to deliver something that people are paying for, right?
Mhm.
So you are the talent. You're the reason we're all here. And I cannot tell you how many times, specifically women, are made to feel like we're on the O side of a relationship, like with
Yeah.
our manager, our leader, our team, our boss, whatever the case may be. And if you're the talent, everyone else is on the O side of that relationship. So you show up. You're the one they're paying for. You're the one delivering, whether it be content, whether it be product, whether it be art, whether it be music, whether it be documents, whatever it is you're delivering that you created from your beautiful mind, using all the things about you that make you you. No one else can do it like you
Yeah.
because you're you. So you're what they're paying for. What will often happen is people that are assigned to oversee the talent often forget that they are only there because the talent is there,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
they start to think that it's the other way around, that the talent is only there because they're in whatever role they're in overseeing the talent. And oftentimes this throws off power dynamics, which negatively impacts the talent because they start to lose sight of why they're there or what they're doing.
Mhm.
And they stop delivering the thing that we're all paying them for because they are trying to make the management of the talent happy. This can be a manager, it can be a supervisor, it can be a leader, whatever you want to call it. They are going to spend their time minimizing all of those things that the client is paying for or the environment is paying for to make themselves feel more important.
Mhm.
So they don't have anything to contribute to the product, the music, the art, the document, the organization, whatever it is that you are orchestrating and creating as the talent, they don't have anything to participate with. So, and rather than say, what is my role? They do one of two things. One, they belittle the talent to make themselves feel stronger, or they give the talent more work rather than understand primarily what their main role should be. So the talent is burdened, they're tired, they're feeling less and less valued because the people that someone put in charge don't get the power dynamic or the importance of the talent, right? Like we always hear this saying that like, it's all about your people. You know, you can't do anything without your people. But people really come in with some bias on that, on what they think that means and
Mhm.
what that means to their role or their job, right? So for me, if I'm overseeing a bunch of unicorns, my job is to encourage them to make sure that they know that the work they're doing is good. And I'm an obstacle remover. So I'm looking at what is in the way of being successful and I remove obstacles. So if they aren't able to get something done, the first thing is, what do you need? How can I help? Who do I need to go talk to? And then I go leverage my personal network and my personal capital to blast out of the way anything that is potentially impacting the talent, right? Like they just want to create, they just want to produce. That's what they do best. Like we'll talk about the hats. So I got the hats that were the talent
Love it.
because we're producing, we're creating, you know, we're hopefully generating an entire community of people that are going to relate to this and understand because they've been there or felt that way or have recently done this to people where they, after it's done, and I've been on that side too. So I have been that person in charge, the boss, and I have forgotten the power dynamic that I'm only there because the talent is producing. And the minute the talent stops producing, they're going to look at me and be like, what did you do? Because before you got here, we were successful and now we're not. Or
Yeah.
what did you do? This person is so talented and now they're not producing anymore. You killed the vibe. And I think that many times they don't feel like it's their job to find out. And that's where
Exactly.
we get
That's a
into
good point.
rocky waters, right? That's
That's a
where
good
things
point.
start to turn. So I'm constantly reminding people of this dynamic to say, even if I'm talking to a supervisor, or someone who's struggling with their team, I say one of two things. One, either you have the wrong people, they don't have the talents you need to do these jobs. They're not bad people, they're just the wrong people. Or you aren't getting out of them what they're best at. Someone who's been there, who has had to learn this lesson firsthand, how difficult life is until you realize who the talent is and who is just there to remove obstacles. Back in the field that we were in for many, many years, I went months without days off because I kept turning my team.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't figure out why they were quitting. Well, thank goodness I had like another fellow leader that was like, okay, you are terrible. And it was because I lost the vision of what that dynamic should be. And I didn't know what my purpose was. Like I thought I was supposed to be driving profit, driving results. You can't do that alone. So part of it is motivating your people. Part of it is understanding what they do. But the fundamental foundation for building a successful team, for keeping people long term, for making sure that people are growing and doing the things that they're best at rather than what you need them to do is hiring right, developing them to make sure that you are pulling out what it is they're good at and letting them just do that. Just let
Yeah.
them do what they're best at. It was kind of like if you have somebody who is really good at answering phones, so that, right? A magic at it. Everyone loves talking to them on the phone. They're great on the phone. And you decide that you're just going to put them in the back office doing inventory records. Who is that good for? Well, you did it because you needed someone to do that. And this person is a good person. You like talking to them. They're fun. Everybody really likes them.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly they're like, hey, I'm giving you my notice. And you're like, why? Why? And they're like, well, because I didn't want to do inventory records. And then you blame them. You're like, well, why didn't you tell me that? Right. And it's just like this vicious cycle that you can get into as a leader. And as someone who doesn't understand the power of the talent.
Some of the biggest issues and opportunities in companies are sometimes the leadership. It's not necessarily the talent that's on the front line doing the work. Sometimes it's the leaders. If you are in a position, hiring the leaders that are going to lead your frontline teams, that is so critical to hire the right people, promote the right people with the right values that align with the organization. Because so many times I know that when I was in that position to hire regional managers, to lead district managers, to lead store teams, that one layer could make or break every other layer underneath.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's so
Hiring
important to
right
know.
is critical. The other thing that we talk about relentlessly is onboarding, right? And
Yeah.
regardless of what industry you're in or what field you're in, I can guarantee two things. One, they're cheaping out on training, and two, they're cheaping out on onboarding. Because for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, we've decided that people can just figure this out when they get on board. I started a job that they literally told me to meet them at Starbucks. I waited at Starbucks for 8 hours and I had nobody to call. I was just
So
waiting for this person to come
embarrassing.
and get me. And then they literally are running over and they're just sweating profusely. And they're like, I totally forgot you started today. I'm so sorry.
Oh, embarrassing.
Okay, but look, like it didn't get better from there. It got
Yeah.
worse, right?
That is, it sets the tone.
It does. It
It
does.
absolutely sets
And
the
it was a
tone.
job I took making a 50% pay cut.
Mhm.
But I'm a gold star whore. And when you are a gold star whore and you are the talent, you are resilient and you are
Yeah.
tenacious. Like you don't
Yeah.
just give up. You're like, I am here until I get my gold star and we will figure this out. And it was
I
really
agree.
important to me. And I think that that's something that also a lot of managers and leaders and directors, supervisors take advantage of because they
Yeah.
understand that the talent is just looking for acknowledgement that they're doing a good job. And a lot of times we let them get away with that, right? And
Mhm.
that's also how that power dynamic shifts. That's also how the talent becomes the worker bee and the manager becomes the one that is getting all the accolades. So many times where they just get taken for granted.
Yeah.
And that's hiring right, onboarding, training, developing, all of those things are critical. But it goes back to also really understanding the roles and the role development. So when
Mhm.
you've got people that are really performing well, make sure that you don't take them for granted. So I have a story that I tell to this
I
day
think we've all been there.
that like, you look back on your life and you're like, "What was I thinking?" So I had this manager that worked for me that was like a super manager. Like, it wasn't you, but close. I did work with people other than Lisa over my 30 years, but she was super, like, mature, dedicated, had work-life balance, a performer, a top performer, just one of those things. People loved working with them, like, just all around awesome person. And she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, can we talk?" Which anybody who's ever been in leadership roles, you know immediately that's never good news. She pulls me outside. "I'm giving you my 2 weeks." And I'm like,
Mm,
"What?" I was gutted. She's like, "But I want to tell you why. I feel that you pay attention to everyone but me." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "You're always doing development stuff with this person. This person gets this and this other person gets that. And I don't get anything. You really took me for granted. And I feel like you took advantage of me. And I
mm,
don't think you're a bad person. I just think that you need to learn that you did this so that you don't do it to other people." And I then went and told that story to every single manager I've ever worked with since then. I told that story last week to someone because I
mm.
felt like I was seeing that they were taking advantage of their team and they deserved to have nice things said to them because they were really performing. They were a high functioning team. You've got to take care of your best people and your talent. They will take care of you, is really how you can simply put it.
Yeah, in alignment with that, I've also seen where people tolerate bad performers also and
Mhm.
kill the vibe of the good, strong performers.
That happens more in my current environment than it's ever happened in my history. People
Yeah.
are failing up in a big way. And there
Mhm.
is a lot of this, like, you work for me mentality happening. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I got news for you. I'm the talent, I'm the one with the skills. So I will be fine. You can send me on my way. Everything can fall apart. And I'm going to be the one building back up from scratch, which is fine because I'm the talent. I'm the one who knew how to get here in the first place, and I will get here again. Tenacity and resilience are two key things that I wish more people who were really genuinely the talent had. Unfortunately, a lot of times they just lose sight that that's who they are.
Well, I think it's also goes into play like situational leadership too, like
Hmm.
S1, S2, D1, D2, like that whole flow chart of what
Hmm.
happens to an employee when they first start, what that looks like as they progress in their position or role, and when they slip backwards, a lot of time it can be because of the leader and how they could be on some really strong momentum to be moving to their next role, their next promotion, and the leader can actually make the mistake of not stretching them appropriately. There's a difference between overworking your top talent and actually challenging them in development. There's a
Yep.
difference.
Yep.
Well,
Inspiring and one is
mhm.
demotivating.
Correct.
Mhm.
1,000%.
I just feel, I got some advice many years ago, and you'll probably remember the story. Won this chat with the vice president, whatever they were at the time, and he was a bit of an eccentric, but he was a genius. Most geniuses are eccentric, and we all know I have a thing for the smarties. I was thrilled that I got to sit down and talk to this person, but the environment was weird. It was like after a show, and everyone was sitting around like at little small tables, like in a happy hour environment. And I can't like him. I was looking at him like he was the Wizard of Oz. Like I needed him to give me a heart. I will never forget it because it was like one of those moments that stick in your mind forever. But the whole room went away and it was just me and him like in a movie, and they were there, but I was so in tune and he was so in tune back that we were exchanging parts of our soul. Like it was intense. He was like, "I'm going to tell you a story." And I'm like, "Okay." And he was like, "I have two sons. One son is very smart, super smart, can figure things out, no problem. I have another son who's super dumb, dumb as a door. Who do you think I spend all my time with?" And I'm like, "Your dumb son." And he's like, "Wrong. I spend all my time on my smart son. I want to make sure that since he's smart enough to absorb all of my lessons and he's going to remember, hey, I said, don't do this, don't do this, do this, because he's smart enough to understand the context of those conversations. I'm spending all my time with my smart son. Oh, why I'm doing that?" And I was like, because he's your smart son? He was like, no, I'm doing it because I'm going to be dead someday. And there's
Mhm.
going to be this big legacy. I know my dumb son can't take it, and he will literally be lost without me if I'm the only person that helps him. So I'm making my smart son the smartest he can possibly be so that when I'm not around, he can take care of the idiot.
That's
And I was like, so what I think I'm hearing, and again, like I was a super baby gold star. Like I don't even think I could drink yet. And I was like, so what I think I'm hearing is that I need to spend all my time developing my smart team so that when I'm not there, the business runs as if I were there. I completely shifted my perspective, and the people that were the troublemakers that were taking
Mhm.
up all my time, I was spending
Yes,
all my time on the fire,
they
not
do.
on the
You
water.
spend more time on that
Yep.
10% or whatever.
It never gets anywhere.
No,
It's
it
always a
doesn't.
problem, right?
Yeah.
So I stopped it. I just completely stopped it. And then I will never forget, I had a low performer, high drama.
Mhm.
The impact that that conversation had on the way that I view the dynamics and
Yeah.
the way that I spend my time. I mean, it took us from a low performing environment to a high performing environment. I went big on this whole strategy, and it paid off tenfold. So if you filter all that, razzmatazz into understanding the power of the
Mhm.
talent can make or break you. Don't trick yourself. We've all been there too. I'm good at this. No, you are not.
I
They
mean,
are,
turnover
right?
costs money as well. Like, I get it. There comes a point where someone's just not going to be a good fit. They're not going to be a good fit for the role. They're not going to be a good fit for the team, and they're not going to be a good fit for the company. Understood. However, if you can get leaders that can maintain a team that always have backfills for people who are either going to leave through attrition, and good luck to you, that's great, or move up if you're promoting from within. Say, okay, do I have the right leaders to make sure that all of this is happening in sequence, right?
And do I have platforms that allow for that to happen?
That's true. A
I'm going to
lot
go
of
back
times.
to
Yeah.
what you were talking about like there is no quicker way to kill a good high functioning environment than to promote the wrong person.
Yep.
So
And to
again,
tolerate
yeah.
bad employees, the ones that are creating drama or that do not align with the values, that do not put in the time, that probably steal time. Let's be
Mhm.
real. The
Mhm.
ones that spend more time smoozing than
Mhm.
actually working or
Yep.
delivering output.
Everyone is aware, right? Like we watch. I say that because I am the talent. I believe that. And I may not always be the person doing the actual zeros and ones, but I am 1000% the right person to be part of a team to get a project across the line. But people often don't think the talent is watching. And the talent, although they may be quiet, is watching, right?
Yeah.
And most of the time, people are adverse to giving negative feedback. So they may say something to you in a very quiet way that you're not getting, that you've just promoted the wrong person, but you will most certainly see it within the first 30 days. You're going to see productivity drop. You're going to see performance drop. You may lose people that have been there for a long time, or your high performers suddenly are like, oh, I'm going to go get this other job now.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, I've had talent literally say, this person is stealing time, or
Mm.
this person is misappropriating funds, like real villain era shit. And they continue to get promoted. Okay?
Mm.
That is the power of a
Yeah.
professional sociopath and I want to take a second and talk about that because that is an important thing for all of our gold star whores out there to be on the lookout for because they come across like they're one of yours. And Lisa talked about this in one of our bonus episodes, the quickie. They can trick you. So let's
Mhm.
talk about the personality traits of a sociopath. So a
Man.
sociopath is very charismatic. They can fit in with anyone. They make you feel like you are the center of the universe.
That
And
chameleon.
they're chameleons.
Yeah.
And whether they're selling lawn chairs or running a company are the best at it, they'll tell you. But if you actually ever follow the math or follow the money, they've never delivered anything in their lives. But they come across as like the person everyone wants to invite to happy hour. They're the person that is really good at making the boss feel like he or she are the smartest people on earth.
Then they get invited to every room,
Yep.
every discussion,
Yes.
every decision.
Why is everybody listening to this Yahoo? That's what the
Mhm.
talent is saying, for the record.
Yes.
Because we're paying attention and we're super smart and we're like, everything he just said is not true. Like, nothing this person just said checks with reality. All the leadership is like, oh, that's a great idea
Sparkle.
because they don't know either.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in a room where I've been like, hey, if you hear this, they're a hack. They literally went the next week and hired the hacks. And I'm like,
Yep.
what? People are failing up in a big, big way. So it's something to watch out for.
Absolutely. There was this individual that, again, came out of nowhere, all of a sudden was promoted.
Did they come to a meeting without a bra on and you can see through their top? Is that who we're talking about? Because that happened.
No, this individual made you feel like they were your friend. Later down the road, I realized that this individual was the villain in my story, was in the rooms that I might not have been in for many different reasons because they were gaslighting.
If you guys don't know what gaslighting is, you're lucky. The gaslighting is where someone is, like, say, digging a hole, and you're like, why are you digging that hole? And they're like, I'm not digging a hole.
I'm not digging a hole.
And
What are
they're
you talking
so
about?
good at it that you are literally watching them dig a hole, but they've convinced you they're not actually digging a hole. I know it sounds crazy, but professional sociopaths are very charismatic and very convincing. Okay.
Yes.
So
When I look back at how everything kind of transpired in a certain situation, I didn't see it for so long. In the end, this person truly did everything possible to benefit themselves. They were literally kicking you in the face on the way up the ladder. And in the moment, I was like, oh, I'm misunderstanding the situation. No, it was real. So when you feel it, and that moment that you feel that ick, that uneasiness about someone, that you feel that they are not being genuine and authentic, you're right.
Yep.
It's right.
Trust yourself. Trust that professional and sometimes friends, right? Like, we've all had that person that we think we're friends with and they just tell us how awesome we are all the time.
Yeah.
And then you find out they're trying to get after your husband. Like, people sometimes are master manipulators. Again, that's another trait of a professional sociopath. And these people are usually the personality traits of people in these leadership positions. So now, not all of them are professional sociopaths.
Yeah.
They're not. Okay. We've seen a rampant rise where people are just completely disconnected from what their roles are. They're completely disconnected from the mission and the vision. They're completely disconnected from the value of the talent and what they provide. Well, the talent is finding themselves in this position where they're either being fired or they are not being valued and being asked to do more and more and more and more. And what I want to just remind you guys is to kind of give yourself a talking to, whatever you have to do. If you are the talent, you know who you are. If you are not delivering anything, you are not the talent. You are probably someone who's like talent adjacent, but you're not the talent. So I'm talking to those gold star whores out there that are hustling, that are grinding, that are delivering, promoting, organizing, developing, launching, facilitating, all of those things. You're doing something, a product that is elevated because you're involved, right? And if you are someone who is late, who is complaining, who doesn't want to put in the extra time, or
Who
doesn't want to
doesn't put in
the
the
time
extra
at
time?
all, doesn't put in any time,
Doesn't put in
you're
any
not
time.
the talent, right? So again, like, it's really important that those of us out there understand the power that we have, the value that we bring, and know that there are environments where people will see you and try to either shut you down or take you out because they know that you're going to take the shine away from them, even though you can have no interest in doing that. I'm going to tell you guys a story. It literally happened to us. And like, we're two smart girls. We're two savvy gold star whores, just living our lives. And we were both at the precipice that we wanted to go up another level in the environments we were in. We were not in a cult. It may sound like it, but we were kind of as a cult, but not really. We didn't have any special outfits and there was no profit. Unless you want to talk about the CEO, which we treated like a profit. So Lisa and I were both at the precipice of kind of getting to that next level. She was doing better at it than I was.
No, it was just different. We were going in different paths.
Yeah, but you were definitely, you were having more success in getting people to see your value than I was for lots of different reasons. We'll talk about the fact that you should stay in a job you shouldn't be in for too long because bad things will happen.
Yeah.
We get a new supervisor who literally shows up to the first meeting in denim short shorts and a ivory tube top with no bra underneath it, and you could see her boobs through her top. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? Like, I'm past the point. Like, I'm so confident that I'm the talent. I've lost all propriety. Like, I'm like, literally, I told this person that you're not in dress code. Don't come to another meeting like that. Yeah. So listen. So professional sociopaths have a tendency to spot us in a crowd. They know who we are based on our performance and based on how we carry ourselves, based on how we communicate in a crowd, based on who comes to us versus who doesn't come to us. Like, usually gold star whores stand out in a crowd because our whole point of being there is to get the credit for the work that we're doing, right? And to get authentic acknowledgement for being the rock stars we are. I mean, that's part of the game. This person immediately starts in on us, starts in working. And we didn't know this at the time because, again, we were kind of at this point where we were both almost ready to leave the nest. So we weren't really engaging with each other that much. It was more like we were kind of doing our own thing. And you'd think we would know better. We didn't. So unbeknownst to me, this person, we'll call that person No Bra Marge, was telling Lisa how talented she was, how, wildly successful she's going to be, and how she's telling everyone outside, like, how she should get promoted, and telling her that I didn't support you. I feel like almost like she's working against you, just planting little seeds like a good sociopath could do.
Granted.
Yep. And not like as if she had come right out and said something negative about me, Lisa would be like, I'm going to punch you.
Yeah,
like, it's going to get
not
in here, right? But that is not how they do it. It's very, very clever. Meanwhile, they're talking to me and saying, Lisa Smith is saying that you don't really support her. She feels like you're not doing everything you need to do for her team. You're basically preventing her from being successful. And I'm going to have to let leadership know that, you're not doing these things. So literally pitted us against each other by these little whisperings, these little things. Lisa and I didn't talk to each other. We started believing this narrative, right? Rather than like, hey, let's check yourself before you wreck yourself. Let's go outside and have a conversation.
Hey, let's just have a conversation. Do you want to go grab some coffee?
It dismantled our trust.
Yeah.
And a decade-long trust. And again, this was never a competition. It was about lifting each other up and out. That was the entire point. But this
one
person.
It took one person
who was very, very clever in how they did it, dismantled all of it. Now, here's what I will say. There is a happy ending. As the icon Taylor Swift says, trash takes itself out every time.
I love that.
It's true.
It's so
I believe
true.
it. This person ended up a year later after the business completely down 70%, down 80%, which is unheard of, right? Ended up getting caught drunk at lunch and terminated. And 100 people came to tell me that day when it happened. They could not wait. The Wicked Witch is dead. It was sad. And I do not believe, and Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we ever knew she had done that until we got together years later.
It was years later because I think I was so hurt that instead of being mature about it, I just said, okay, we're not friends anymore. Like, clearly she's taken another side, playing it back in my head. And I'm like, when did it happen? Like, when? And then I'm like, I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to go do my own thing, let her do her thing. And I felt it was like a terrible breakup, but we didn't even have a conversation about breaking up, if that makes sense. It was really hard. And it was hard for me because I had looked up to you for so long and we had such a great friendship. And I really felt like you were the yang to my yin. And I was better when I was around you, and I was better when we worked together, and our outputs were better when we were together. Our talents were different, but we complemented
each other.
Yeah, we really did.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think I moved on and you did as well. And it wasn't until years later that we came back. And I don't even remember how we did.
I think maybe one of us was job hunting or something. I don't remember. Maybe
Could have
one of us
been.
was job hunting. It was, I think one of us was, it really hurt I'm pretty sure it was you because this sounds very self-evolved and I'm not. I am petty as hell. I will hold my grudge in hell. Bad, petty. But I think Lisa probably, it really hurt my feelings when you said X. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I never said that. She was like, what? I'm like, and then we started like having a very like soft, fragile conversation because we were both still very hurt
Yeah.
from the years of like thinking that this other person, we just were completely turned against each other and we had no idea that it had happened until we were having this conversation. And we were just kind of like, okay, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And we walked through the steps together
Mm-hmm.
to the dismantling and how she dismantled us because she knew together
We
she'd
were so
never
powerful.
be.
She
I
would,
mean,
yeah.
we were dynamite. Like nobody fucked with us, to put it
Yeah.
better. Like I don't
Yeah.
mean that in an ego way. I mean that in a
No, it's true.
like it would come for you if you did. Where we had
Yeah.
really done exceptional things that had changed the way the billion-dollar company did business. But it was so easy because we're gold star whores,
Yeah.
right? And nobody ever taught us. Like we've since done conflict resolution, conflict management, and
Yeah.
now as adults, as full-grown gold star whores, I will call it as I see it, and I will talk to someone if I feel like I'm hearing that they said something.
Ye
I'll go to that person. Hey, can we just have a quick conversation? Did you say that I said this? Do you think I would say that about you? Why would I ever do that? And they were like, yeah, I did. I heard that you said this or that. And you guys, these types of things can erode from the inside. If you have one bad apple on your team or in your organization or in your company that is operating from this perspective of it's all about them and they don't actually have any talents of their own, they can completely dismantle a company.
just saw this happen, and it is
Mhm.
sad because the wrong people or the right people, like, listen to the wrong person or
Mhm.
listen to the wrong team of people or group of people, and it literally brought a whole organization to its knees.
Yeah. And it's happening now. It's happening in front of our very
Mhm.
eyes, right?
Mhm.
Where people are failing into these positions that they're not, that they never should have been in. If you are the talent, you can't always work for the dream boss or the dream project or
Yeah.
the dream company. There are going to be times where you've got to mop a floor, wash a car, and there's like, that's not what I want to do. But how do I survive it? You can choose to do a couple of things. One, you can wait for this to pass because what goes down must come up and what goes up comes down.
Yeah.
And you can look around and say, how long do we really think this is going to last? And can I outlast it? Or you can leave. You can take your ball and go home and find something else to do that is not going to be as frustrating.
Mhm.
Or you can try to have conversations with people that you may have influence with. And if you can, then have those conversations, but don't expect anybody to listen to you. To the gold star whores out there that are kind of in a position where they may be working with a boss that's maybe not a sociopath, but just doesn't get it. You need to try to either understand if you can adapt it or change it or live with it or start looking for something else that you think you can thrive in a different environment, a different job, any of those things. Or you can try to have some honest conversations.
Mhm.
But first, before you do that, I would talk to your circle, your people, your little tribe, and say, are you guys seeing this as well? Because sometimes it might be a personal bias that you're
Yeah.
having, or you might be misinterpreting a situation. Sometimes during high emotional times, I myself have been known to get very sensitive and overreact. I mean, I know, shocking, overreact to situations. So it's important that you kind of like check in with your people. There is nothing I hate more than a laissez-faire leader. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
My God, make a decision.
Yeah, a laissez-faire leader to me is like a floppy, like, hot dog. Like, there's nothing good about it. They're not inspirational. They don't ever take a stand. They don't ever want to be the person making the decision. So they just give enough rope for their team to hang themselves a lot of times because they're not actually leading. They're just getting by in whatever role they're in, whatever position they have. And nobody benefits from that type of a leader. So if you have that type of leader, I do want to say the worst thing, in my opinion, that you could do is try to have a conversation with that leader
You're
because
right.
they don't want to hear it, and
They're never gonna be
they're
different.
never going to be different because them being different means that they have to take a risk, and they are not willing to take a risk for themselves. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do in that job, and they're not going to change. So you having a conversation is
Preach.
just
Good.
putting yourself out there that you don't need to. I think that it comes down to also where you have to figure out if this is a place where you can stay and be positive and not hate your life every day showing up. And it's just going to bleed into your personal life because the environment is either toxic or demotivating or whatever it is. The
Right.
issue is, though, is if you find yourself in that environment that's not working for you, it's time to get out. I think when we talk about always remembering our worth and our value and what we bring to the table and really what we get paid to do, we are bringing the talent to the table. So don't allow anyone to dim your star. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next week.